Right.
The red light, come on.
Right.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to In the Streets with Big Stone. Today is a very historical day. Today is a day that I've longed for, and I'm happy to be a part of this historical moment. I'm here sitting with a gentleman who is now known worldwide as Frank Garden, with the order of distinction that is. Frank Garden goes all the way back to the year 1922 on the 22nd of March when he was born in Love Lane, right beside War Theatre in Kingston. The first time he heard about this great man, the Right Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, was because Love Lane is just as close to Liberty Yard, just a few steps away. And I guess that's where the sounding of Marcus Garvey came through to Mr. Garden. I'm here first to my right, we have the Honorable Racy Matthews, President of the UNIA, of course, and we have the legendary Frank Garden, Order of Distinction, and of course myself, Big Stone. Now I'm going to talk to Racy Matthews first. Mr. Matthews, what are some of your fondest moments? When was the first time you came in contact with Frank Garden, the legend?
Well, Frank Garden is a very historical person in Jamaica. And we know that Frank Garden is the Garveyite, the consummate Garveyite. And when I met Mr. Garden down at the shrine of Marcus Garvey, he immediately became my teacher. And he would pass on as much information about Mr. Garvey and urged us never to give up the struggle, because half of the battle was won when we had emancipation of taking off the chains. But we now had to emancipate our minds. And this is what Mr. Garden advocated, because Mr. Garvey is the one who had given Bob Marley, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind.
And those words that you know is
Mortal.
was coined by the Right Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Now you mentioned, Mr. Matthews, that we used to celebrate Emancipation Day, and since we got independence in 1962, they sort of dropped that from the celebration and started to celebrate independence, which is 1962 on. And you told me prior to this that Frank Garden was instrumental in making sure that we get back to celebrating the emancipation of our forefathers. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, well, all the old Garveyites who had championed the cause of the true liberation of the African people, the Afro-Caribbean people as he would fondly call us. He said we were not Negroes, we were Afro-Caribbean people. And he was showing us that independence is not as important as emancipation. And we should always advocate to bring back Emancipation Day as a holiday in recognition of the great victory of the African people over the period known as the slave trading period. So Mr. Frank Garden OD, at the front of it all, was always the one who would urge us as the younger generation that when he is weary, he wants to know that there's enough of us with the fuel and fire to keep the work going. So we are students of the great Frank Garden, and we have kept the fire burning.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's about time we meet now the man of the moment, the man that you have heard so much about. Some of you have read him in your history book because he's part of our historical regime. He helped to frame it, framework it, and fix it up together and bring it to where it's at today. Mr. Frank Garden, how are you, sir?
Thank God for life, sir.
I see you still old and stronger than ever.
Oh yes, thank God, because then you have the spirit of Garvey still alive.
A while ago we wanted to talk to Frank, right? And Frank was inside eating, and you know, he's not feeling a little well right now in terms of his physical condition where he could just jump up and walk. And we tried to assist him, and Frank said, no, we're not gonna have none of that. You know, he didn't say that in so many words, but he says, with the spirit of Garvey flowing through my brain and my mind and my heart and my soul, I can get up and walk. And that he did. We didn't assist Mr. Garden. to sit here. He did so from inside the bedroom all the way out here. Tell us something about Love Lane and Liberty Hall.
Well, the Liberty Hall was the Kingston Division property. Don't tell you, the Kingston Division had the property known as 67
Slide Road.
King Street, 76.
76
No,
King Street.
No, I don't tell you. The Liberty Hall property is
76.
74. 74 King Street. Because it's run from the seed up on that left hand side. And the property below that was 5.5 Love Lane, and about that, and then the 74, 72, 74 is the Liberty Hall property.
Okay.
But it was a property that run from street to lane, you know.
So what was it like then as a young boy? And I know you must have heard the powerful voice of Garvey coming from Liberty Hall.
You never hear Garvey's voice because Garvey was away.
Oh, he was away at that time?
Yes, he was away because he traveled abroad, Costa Rica, Panama, and the various places, looking at the condition of black people. In Costa Rica right now, today in Costa Rica, there's a large division, property owned by the UNIA in Costa Rica, because black and the colored people don't mix together. But the spirit of Garvey is still strong in Latin America. I went to Havana one time, and still Garvey was still a strong part in Havana. Because my grandmother died in Cuba. And so Garvey had a strong division there of black people. Because I those days you go to Cuba to work, you go to Panama to work, and they go to look a living.
Okay.
And so the struggle continues for black people all over the world. Because you should remember that when the Spanish came to Jamaica, they were part of the black people divisional strength. Because out of that division in the Roman Catholic St. Benedict the Moor Church of Ottawa here, it's a Roman Catholic. I heard a teacher one day was speaking. I said, this teacher know more about St. Benedict the Moor than we know about the black saint that was at the particular time. Because they work in the field of education. And the Roman history is different from the British.
Oh.
The British won't tell you about no St. Benedict the Moor. Tell you about the white man's slave master, the Nelson and the robbers and the robber bandits. But the Roman Catholic teach the people the problem of St. Benedict the Moor and African martyrs.
So let me ask you now, how was Marcus Garvey's philosophies and ideas accepted back then as a young child? I know a lot of people gravitated towards it, but did he get fights like from the hierarchy in terms of...
Well, you always have international hypocrites who fight against you at all times.
International hypocrites.
But you have to stand your ground and keep your standard very, very high. And so when you read in history, you don't read it only through the Englishman's eyes, but you're looking through real history that can take you back. Like in the case of the people in Manchester who Garvey spent a year loyalty to them, and right today you have one of the biggest Garvey shrines in Jamaica, in
Manchester?
Yes, South Manchester.
South Manchester.
That time here, Garvey spent a long time, because when he was selling the Black Star Line, the people down there drove to it and killed a tremendous building in Manchester. To Garvey trying to send the Adventist ones was there with the time said, no way, we're not getting nobody. It belongs to Marcus Garvey because his loyalty to the people there, respect, to honor and glorify God's name.
The name of that district is Resource.
Resource, yeah.
Resource.
That's the name of the district.
Yeah.
So that's where the statue of Marcus Garvey stands today, as it is.
in
Is
Manchester.
it a complete statue or a bust of him?
We have bust.
Or a bust?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But he spent a lot of time there because he was grateful for the support the Black Star Line get
From the people of Manchester.
So
See, there's a lot of
Manchester.
history that we Jamaicans have never heard before. And that is why we're doing this interview, because Mr. Garden is armed with certain information that the rest of the world need to hear this for, what you call it?
Posterity.
For posterity.
Don't worry.
All right, so when you actually became active now, involved with the Garvey movements, what were your intentions then?
Well, the intention is that in 1934, a man named St. William Grant,
St. William Grant.
who was born in Granville Hill, in St. Thomas, in
St. Mary.
no,
Or Upper St. Andrew.
Upper St. Andrew, when you go
St.
through
Andrew.
Stony Hill and go down the
Yeah.
Templar. Yes.
yes, we had it there, and he got in trouble for the man's experimenting when he come to town, and so he was arrested, and another boy was with him, but the same was trying to send and giving the enemy messages. But he got off, and then he was able to recruit him into the military because of the war effort in 1914-18 war. And so he worked way out, and he eventually land store over to the United States. And he was able to, when he arrived there, just in time when Marcus Garvey was just unleashing his powerhouse
Unleashing is powerhouse
of knowledge
of knowledge.
to the people of America.
I spoke to you, Mr. Garden, just a while ago before we actually came on camera. And I asked you, I said, how did Mr. Garvey manage to amass such a gigantic following? And you said one word to me, and it hits me. You said telepathy.
Yes,
And that is the scientific knowledge. And that is the scientific approach of the Right Honorable Marcus Garvey. Because he was the one who was teaching us that the mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Right.
And with the mind, whatever the mind thinketh, you can bring it into life. You can bring it into being. And I know that with such power and such knowledge, there ain't nothing that Mr. Garvey could not have done back in those days.
You see, in those days when Garvey started his movement, he went into South Africa before the Russian Communist Party went to South Africa. He was able to mobilize the spirit of the black man. The shape, the man on the sea, he got the message, the drums. We're talking drums at the time. And that was carrying the wisdom and the knowledge and the power of the eternal God.
How do you feel about some Jamaicans who are not grateful? Because we are grateful for the teaching of the Right Honorable Marcus Garvey. I can speak that for race because when I met Mr. Matthews many years ago, maybe 19, 20 years ago, Marcus Garvey was on the forefront of his mind. And here we are today, December 21st, a day that they say the world should come to an end. Still talking about the Right Honorable Marcus Garvey, and Mr. Racy Matthews is here with us, Mr. Frank Garden, reminiscing about such a great man.
What is needed is some amount of unity. There are those who use politics to divide and rule. Because I have been in the UNIA, not as a permanent member. I've been taken over from deacon.
Will be made in.
Will made him.
Mm-hmm.
He overworked himself, starved himself, till he died of
Malnutrition.
But the
Okay.
question is that I continue until the organization was captured by upstart who believe that them can read the book is all, but they have no creative mind. Because Garveyism is one of creation of mind and conscious to develop a oneness.
Mr. Gordon, you use the word take over.
Yes.
Why you use such a phraseology?
Because I was struck out of the organization by the power that those who have the power and intellectual honesty of the right to give me a whole jacket and you know, chuck me to the organization. So I just move out, give them away. And for the last 5 years, no annual meeting, no keep, no presentation of documentation, because what money I got out of the organization remain in it. Julius Garvey sent me, Julius, yes, $500 when Deacon did, and it was in the bank. I did not draw a penny from his personal use. I don't take organization money, I put in. I got chairs from Food for the Poor, I got things for the organization. I tried to build a structure in place. But again, the powers that be, they have the power and the glory.
You know, as you mentioned that though, Mr. Gardner and Mr. Matthew sitting here, I think we need to revamp that organization under the umbrella of the UNIA that you started, that chapter here.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And name it after you, the Frank Garden chapter of the UNIA, because...
No personalization. The UNIA is the UNIA.
No, the UNIA is the umbrella.
It's our division.
Right.
It's other division head, and the division should retain itself and not impose upon somebody, spurious or otherwise.
I appreciate what you
Because
said.
you can, you know, I don't want to personal something.
Okay, in other words, what I was trying to say was the fact that Mr. Gardner spent so much years of his life dedicated to a cause that means so much to him. And that cause, is that flame still burning here? It's burning within you, but is it still alighted in the community?
It's black people business, you know.
Let me add this. The UNIA has a mandate in which when an ancestor has passed on, a division is named in the honor of that ancestor.
Oh, okay.
So in Jamaica we have the Paul Bogle Memorial Division.
Okay.
And we have the Marcus Garvey Memorial Division.
Okay, I see what
right.
you mean, yes.
So it is only after
the person has
passed on that the honor is bestowed upon that person.
So I'm going to jump in the gun.
Naming a division in such honor.
I understand, okay. Point well taken. So Mr. Gordon, so what do you say to the younger generation now? Of people, you know, most of our young boys are not doing well in school. Mr. Mugabe, the president of Zimbabwe, is saying that our women are doing well, but our youngsters are not doing so well.
We can't allow irritant of Mugabe to condemn the effort that was made, because then what the leadership between Jamaica, Cuba, and all those that formed the non-aligned movement and the artists who contribute to the liberation of Southern Africa is more than money can buy. And so it is wise to let common sense rule us. A lot of things to be done. We're going to be slow, but we got to keep the spirit of Marcus Garvey
moving on, pressing on.
And the non-aligned movement is vital, you know, to understand history of its contribution to world stability.
But Mr. Gordon, Mr. Garvey, one of his foundation principles was self-reliance. And I remember in days gone by, when we needed a UNIA flag, you're the only person who was manufacturing UNIA flag. Other than that, you buy one that was made in China.
Yes.
So we need to get back to that core of self-reliance,
Exactly.
doing for ourselves and don't allow other people or other nations to
You
do
see,
for us.
what we wanted was to get a firm of black people, to get the round stick and not the square stick on the flag for the children. Because if the white children can have a nice, smooth, round stick, why can't our workmen, the artists, the man who do the mitre board, and things like that, do something like that. What I've been doing over the last 3 years, I've been working on a scheme to bring African fundamentalism that Garveyites put forward in the 1920s onto the market. But I'm looking for the words and a group of people and races around them can come look on what we're doing to see how we can get the correct word together. Not there must be no variation
Yes.
from the original thinking of Marcus Garvey, so that we can ask a firm to sponsor possibly 50,000 or 100,000 of the African fundamentalism that it can be sold. And those who can buy it, we can get school children to have it in a small little booklet to keep the history of self-reliance real.
Well, with the Minister of Education announcing that Garvey's philosophy must be taught in school.
Yeah, but
African fundamentalism should be the precursor to it all.
Exactly.
Because the rallying cry was African fundamentalism.
Right, so we have got to see, because they said that the African must be as great as the Church of Rome. It has to develop.
The African must be as great as the Church of Rome.
Because the most powerful religious domination in the world is the Church of Rome.
Yeah.
And so the African to the fundamentalism to the black youth should be the basic structure of faith, hope and charity in himself, ourselves, going forward.
Jamaican, whoever gets an opportunity to view this video, this particular interview that we're having with the Honorable Racing Matches, of course, Mr. Frank Garden, OD, should really cherish this moment, because here we have a man that have lived for over 91 years, who have spent 99% of his life, other than when he just got out of his mother's womb, but 99% of his life carrying on the beliefs and the philosophies and the opinion of our leader, our saint. We should take a note, a page out of Mr. Frank Garden's book. Frank, so this is the year 2012, we're moving on into the year 2013. What are your plans for the new year coming up?
Well, the year is to see that history of yesterday year, because there was a time when, in colonial time, the black woman, when she worked in the government service, she could marry and keep the job. A black woman who married could not be a postmistress. She had to stay single, so that the vultures of Europe come into the colony, that they prey on the woman because she don't have a man as a husband. It was a man like Kenneth George Hill, the 4H's, Ken Hill, Frank Hill, Arthur Henry, Richard Hart, forming independent trade unions, allow black women to be able to marry. And Pan-African structure.
Yes.
Wow.
Opium. This is old dynamism of the survival of the black woman. And so, if I'm alive next year, I would love to start a campaign, I mentioned it to Jean Barnes when she was here today, that we can have a body of people looking for a Thanksgiving service about Peter and Paul, because that is the parish that Kenny came through, and to see if we can have 10:30 one Sunday morning to have a service of Thanksgiving to the life and to those women who went through the journey on the colonialism to build the integrity of the black woman who have contributed to build the nation of Jamaica.
Boy, you're so powerful, Mr. Frank Garvey sounds, man. I can hear Marcus Garvey coming through his vein, his mouth, his lips, his speech, his words, everything is Mr. Garvey to the maximum. Mr. Macho, what you have to say about the feistiness, the amount of vigor and strength that he still pushes out? What are your thoughts?
That is
this is amazing.
The essence of Mr. Garvey's philosophy run through your vein, and the rallying cry of Mr. Garvey, up you mighty race, you can accomplish what you will.
Yes.
And this is the essence that Frank is still echoing at 91 years. And he's looking forward to next year when he wants more to be accomplished.
Exactly.
No, it is hope that at the corner of Charles Street and Chancellery Lane.
Yes.
That is where the UNA was founded.
Before it actually went to Liberty Hall.
Yes.
The founding, because then at that there was a at that corner on the northern side of the land was the chancellery to the old church. The old church in those days was Spanish. And so if you look at those buildings, some of the people are still there here on the island. That was where the priests would live. And so they were there to keep the community alive. And Garvey started with the start. Prince was at the corner of Orange Street, and he started the University of Negro Improvement Association there. And so we want to do something that we can have some flags, some meetings, and some rallying point that we can give hope to the new convert.
As you mentioned that, you know what struck me? That Mr. Garvey started it, and his first secretary was Amy Ashwood, who became his first wife, Amy Ashwood Garvey. She's the one that helped him to set up the organization on Charles Street. No, what I am looking forward to is 2014, the year after next, when it becomes the centenary year of the founding of the UNIA. 100 years of the founding of the UNIA. And we know that you will be around with us to celebrate.
With us to celebrate that.
And as you mentioned Charles Street, we are going to petition the National Heritage Trust to make that site a National Heritage Site. Yes, that is where the whole
Charles Street and Chancery Lane.
Yes.
What number Charles Street was it?
Not the number, just a
Just a
corner.
corner.
The block, King Street, Charles Street, Orange Street.
So it was on the street, it was in a yard, it was just that area.
The yard was there because there's a print road there, you know. Star print road.
Mr. Garvey actually worked at that print road.
Yes, more from there because the man the printer himself.
Right.
He started from St. Anne, come to town, and went to government printing office. So he was involved all his life. When he gets a free evening, he come down to his sons. He come down to Sutton Street and Duke Street there. There's another printing friend. Stop there and take off his jacket and brace and take up. You know, this is his involvement. And so we want to set the stage early that we start to look at the UNIA, not as Negro, but as Afro-Caribbean people, seeing ourselves as a new development trust. Instead of what people say, you can't change the Negro, the word Negro. Why? We must have the spirit of dynamism to give hope to the emerging nation of black people all over the world. Nobody call them the Chinaman, they call them chink. Or you ask the Indian man, Makuli. You can't, you say that the man is an Indian. And the Chinese.
Yeah, because in my research, it has been known that Mr. Garvey didn't really use the word Negro that much. He used the word African.
African Caribbean.
Well, if you notice the full name of the organization, the UNIA and ACL,
And the African
the
Community League.
Universal Negro Improvement Association,
And
Right.
African Civil
and the African Communities League.
Leagues, right.
So he
right.
made a distinction that you had the Negro who need to be improved,
Okay, he did. Okay.
and then you have the African Communities League.
Okay.
The spirit of understanding
Yes.
and sharing.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we are in Arborview, 49
Southern
Cross Drive. The resident of Mr. Frank Garden, out of distinction. And this is where he cools out on a normally on a Friday evening, having fun. I'm here with racing matches as well. The lighting is getting a little bit bad, so we want to wrap this up for part one of this historical interview. But in leaving though, what are your final words, Mr. Matthews, before we get to Mr. Garden to close out?
Well, one of
taking the movements forward for the year 2020.
One of my sad moments is when stalwarts like Frank Garden has been forgotten by the establishment. Frank should be having teaching classes where he's teaching the youth. In China and in India, this is what is happening. All this wealth of information does not sit and goes to waste.
Yes, and goes to waste.
It is passed on to the next generations to come, to inspire them and to lead them. And I think our country, having bestowed upon him the honor of OD, should really see to it that the tradition, that all that wealth of knowledge that he carried goes on to the next generation.
Very well said. Mr. Garden, it is now you, sir. What are your thoughts now going into the year 2013?
So the year 2013 is a continuum of the old question of deliverance. To give hope to the hopeless and goodwill to the generation that come, the next generation. Because without life there's hope, and without hope there is doubt. We must love one another, share the thought. Did I see Brother McVeigh come through the gate? McVeigh is here?
Yes, Godfather.
Oh yes, this is my brother. I learned from his generation, the earlier period of I learned some songs and some hope for Jamaica. Small is our island Jamaica, but hard is our nation's heart. And in the world of tomorrow, we shall play a noble part. May thy child go before us, pointing the upward way. Sons of Jamaica, march with courage onward from day to day.
Jesus. Well, you brought tears. I'm telling you, read that
Patriotic.
that was something.
Patriotism.
That
Yes.
song was sung when? When was the occasion that particular song was sung?
I learned it in 1930, after the 1930s.
Is it the anthem for the UNI, isn't it?
No,
What is that song?
No, one second.
Tell me where that song comes from.
In the struggle for independence, for self-government, there was a man named Walter A. McBean.
Okay.
He had them, is a poet in those days, and he print them out and give it to the People's National Party to be able to use as a patriotic song.
Okay.
Workers of Jamaica, lift your voices strong today. Oh, workers of Jamaica, let united voices say, the time has come when we must decide to shout our rightful claims far and wide. Oh, workers of Jamaica, unite and fight. Workers are striving in Jamaica and abroad to end this policy of oppression and this policy of fraud. For justice, peace, we fight. He that might can never be right.
That's a beautiful,
So
beautiful
we are,
song.
then you have,
Yes. Might can never be
You remember the
tried.
UNA song? No? You
Yeah.
give me a little bit of the UNA song.
you have plenty, you know.
One, just give me one.
Africa awake in the morning. Is
Give me that one. Oh, Africa, wait.
Oh, Africa awake in the morning is a time. The Lord be no forsaken, the bright and glorious land. From desert ancient glory, bring down the gods to earth. Revive our ancient glory, dum dum dum.
Bam, bam,
Africa awaken to hear the children talk. Oh, Africa awaken to the lives of thine and the rest of traffic splendor, the land of God and earth. And then you have this hurrah for old Jamaica, land of sunshine and climate serene. Our charms are renowned to all the world, and the flags and the hills will soon unfurl. You live for old Jamaica, land of tropic splendor. There are many songs that
Yes.
have taught us, you know, and so the love for the land, the hope for the land, the
Yes.
hope for tomorrow, the hope for the vision.
Yes.
This is where the basic structure of patriotism comes.
comes from. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Time is kind of evading us now because it's getting a little dark, but it has been a wonderful experience sitting here with the Honorable Racing Mattress and of course Mr. Frank Garden, the Order of Distinction recipient. I have to come back and visit with him because you know there's much more for a younger generation to have. And as Mr. Mattress says, we need for the powers that be to make sure we cherish our heritage. We cherish the knowledge that is possessed by Mr. Frank Garden so our next generation can carry on and teach the truth.
You see, you have a lot of yari.
A lot of stuff yari yari.
They are there, you know, below, but they don't impart
Yeah.
nothing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Frank Garden. It's a pleasure, sir, meeting here with you. I must send a copy of this tape to Dr. Julius Garvey so that he can see what his old friend look like. You understand? And of course,
Still
Mr.
carrying-
Rayton Matthews,
still
thank you
carrying the
very
fire.
much. And of course, this is the man of the hour, the honorable, the order of distinction, Mr. Frank Garden. Thank you very, very, very much for watching. And have a wonderful evening.
You see, one year the other balance of the other thing.
Let me hear it quick before you
Now,
go.
our friend here, Brother McBean,
Huh?
his generation, he will tell a short story of, and I want to like this tip, his work in the era of Paul Vogel.
Okay, click it, click
When
it.
Paul Vogel went to